Hi, my name is Camille, and I was diagnosed with an early form of breast cancer at age 34. Before I get into my journey and how I caught it, how I found it and everything, I wanted to first of all just kind of explain why I'm doing this. Why am I sharing this on YouTube for everyone to see? And I sat down and I thought about it. I thought about what I would say. And when I was first diagnosed, I was so terrified, right? I had so many questions. I just didn't know what was going to happen. And once I got my diagnosis, I, of course, went down like a internet spiral and a YouTube spiral. But I found just by going through some people's YouTube videos of their journeys with breast cancer and how they found it and what they've been through. Maybe they posted their first, hey, I've been diagnosed with cancer 6 years ago, and it's still on YouTube. And then I would kind of follow their timeline and see where are they at now. And I found that to be so helpful. Just watching someone else on YouTube go through it made me realize, okay, yeah, I'm not alone. I can do this. So I thought, if I put my story out there, maybe it would help someone in the future who just gets diagnosed with the same thing I have. With this happening, I just thought, again, I would share my experience. And as I'm going through trying to start a family, maybe lifestyle vlogging of some kind, showing my journey as now I'm going through this phase of my life with you to again see how life is after a diagnosis of breast cancer. So here it goes. Last July 2024, I went over to my parents' house and my mother sat us down and she told us that she had been diagnosed with triple negative aggressive breast cancer and that in a few weeks she would be getting a bilateral mastectomy. So of course this came as a huge shock to all of us. She was just so glad that she also kind of caught hers early. Hers was not staged yet. She did not want it to come back on the other side. Her decision was to have a bilateral mastectomy. Fast forward a little bit, her margins are clear. Her sentinel lymph node came back negative. They got all the cancer and they determined from the tumor board that she did not need chemo or radiation. So thankful that they got it all and again that she found it early. We're just so proud of her and happy for her. So during all of this, I told my mom, I've actually felt a little something on my right breast for years. And the doctor said, keep an eye on it. If it grows or if it becomes more painful to the touch, come in. But, just keep an eye on it. It could be a cyst, it could be fibroadenoma, could be dense breast, could be anything. Over the past, maybe 5-6 years, it hasn't grown or become more painful. But on my left side, I noticed kind of honestly around my mom telling us about her diagnosis and her mastectomy that on my left side, from about the nipple down, about 6 o'clock, I just felt something. It just felt different. It felt harder than normal. I was in the shower just scrubbing down and I bumped it one time and I was like, oh, that actually really hurt. And I was just like, yeah, this just feels different. I told my mom about it, and my dad's mother actually passed away from breast cancer. Hers was very late stage. It had spread to her bones and she fought it for 10 years and passed in 1994. So with me being high risk, my mom was like, please go get a mammogram right now, please. I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. Maybe I'll wait a little bit and see if it changes, grows, or becomes more painful. She actually begged me to go get a mammogram. Camille, please. And she was texting me every day. Did you schedule a mammogram yet? Did you schedule a mammogram yet? And this was August or September of last year. My mom, she's so great. She had a doctor reach out to kind of help it so that I could get a referral because I'm under 40 and couldn't just go get a mammogram. But because I was high risk and I felt certain things, I was also able to just do an online appointment with a random physician, and she wrote me a referral. And then I had my mom's oncologist send a referral as well. On September 4th, I went in for my mammogram. The mammogram was awkward and uncomfortable, but after everything happened, they bring my husband Brad into the room, and they tell us that they do see what I was talking about. They saw a little mass on the right side, and then on the left side, they noticed there was some overcalcifications. They were really concerned about that, and they wanted to biopsy both, especially with my family history. So I was like, oh God, okay, both sides. Wow, okay, when can we do this? So we meet with their scheduler to book an appointment for the biopsy. And my husband's with me, and she goes, how does September 20th sound? And we just look at each other and laugh, and we're like, so that's actually our wedding day. And she was like, oh my gosh, congratulations. She's like, I'm so sorry you have to go through this, and you're planning your wedding, you're getting married. And so we decided to do the biopsy after the honeymoon. So that happened on November 1st. I was so scared for the biopsy because I kind of hate needles. Like a lot. Honestly, the worst part of it was just the lidocaine, the needle putting the numbing in you so that you don't feel the needle go inside you. And then after that, they said, okay, you'll hear back in a few days about the results. November 4th, I get a call in the morning that the right side was a benign fibroadenoma and the left side was high-grade ductal carcinoma in situ, an early form of breast cancer. That was shocking news. I was like, what is that? What is high grade? What does early form of cancer mean? Like, is it cancer or is it precancerous? Like, what does this mean? So they said it is breast cancer. It is high grade. High grade means that that's the way that it's determined how the cells look more abnormal under a microscope and are growing faster. Grade 3 is the highest, 1 through 3, but it was not staged yet. So staged means how big the tumor is and how much it has spread, from the best of my knowledge from research and what they've told me. So they said, your next steps are to go get an MRI and schedule an appointment with a surgeon. I said, can I use my mom's same surgeon? They told me to call his office and get that scheduled. So I do the MRI with contrast, and then I have my meeting with the surgeon. And my mom and my husband came to that appointment with me. So he was, first of all, he walks in the room and he's like, hi, what are you doing here? How are you doing? And she's like, hi, I'm doing well. This is actually my youngest daughter. He was like, I'm so sorry. I'm glad to see you're doing well. I'm so sorry you're here again. So we went through the biopsy and we went through the MRI results together. Basically, he recommended that I get a mastectomy on the left side, and they would want to take out the fibroadenoma, the benign fibroadenoma on the right side, just to be safe. I honestly was pretty confident. I told him, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a double mastectomy, a bilateral mastectomy. You know, you're doing surgery on the right side anyways, and I'm high risk. Let's just do both so that I'm also symmetrical and it doesn't come back. Then he looked at me and he said, if you were my daughter, that's what I would suggest you to do. And I said to him, can we get maybe a BOGO, buy one, get one double mastectomy? And my mom just laughs, and he was like, no, but you'll definitely get frequent flyer miles. And we were like, hopefully no more frequent flyer miles. So yeah, after meeting with my mastectomy surgeon, I met with a plastic surgeon, and it was actually Also, the plastic surgeon that my mom was going to use, she decided against reconstructive surgery, but she was like, you have to see this guy. He's incredible. He went through everything in so much detail. So I went with him and met with him. He was like, I'm going to be explaining every little step of the way. You're going to be in great hands. And he was like, you're going to get to know our office staff by their first names. This is no walk in the park. And so I was really thankful that he really prepared me for how much of a process reconstructive surgery is. One thing that was actually kind of hard to process was while meeting with the plastic surgeon, he said, now, did the mastectomy surgeon tell you if we were keeping your nipples or not? And I said, I kind of don't think so, because the cancer is so close to the nipple, and I'm actually like bleeding out of my nipple a little bit. So he said, yeah, I'm really sorry, but I don't think we're gonna be able to keep your nipple, at least on your left side. And I was like, can we reconstruct a nipple, like somehow save it? I don't know. And he said, I just, because it's so close to the skin and you have that secretion coming out of your nipple, it's not safe. So there's no point in doing all this. It's just not safe, and it's just not worth it. So I was pretty destroyed about that. So I got my surgery date to do my mastectomy and reconstructive surgery on the 6th of January, 2025. To kind of do one last hurrah for my boobs that I was no longer going to have, I had some friends over and we did a ta-ta to my tatas party. So that was just kind of a fun little party, last hurrah for my boobies before I say bye-bye to my boobies. My friend made me a boob-shaped cake and got me like stuff to prepare for surgery, just goodies, snacks, a comfy sweater, a little hairy coo, a little hairy cow that I'm obsessed with from Scotland. I'll get into that a whole other time about our England, Scotland, Ireland honeymoon. But that was just so special to me. And we did tattoo the nipple on the boob, kind of like pin the tail on the donkey. So I'll put some pictures here, but it was so funny and just fun because the plastic surgeon did call me and say that, yes, unfortunately we can't keep your nipples. But yeah, that was just so fun. Again, just a way to stay positive throughout this whole thing. And I'm glad that I did that. Okay, had to refill my tea. So the 6th of January rolls around, surgery day is here. My husband and my parents came, and I was just so thankful to have them there and have their support. So surgery went well. I woke up, was coming off anesthesia, and then I was rolled into my room. My parents are there and Brad is there. They're like, hi, how are you doing? You did well. And then my mom goes to my husband. She was like, Brad, do you want to tell her? And I'm like, half out of it. Tell me what? I just come out of surgery. Do you want to tell her? So my husband told me they couldn't put the tissue expander for reconstructive surgery in the left side that had the cancer. They put it in on the right side, but they were not able to put it in on the left side because they had to take more skin. The cancer was too close to the skin, so they didn't feel safe with those margins to start reconstructive surgery. And I'm like, what? Huh? I'm like, not all there. I'm like, what? Brad said that both surgeons came into the waiting room and asked them, here's the situation. The cancer is too close to the skin, more so than we expected. We recommend taking a little bit more skin, feeling safe with the margins, letting her completely heal on that side, and then adding the tissue expander. So that could be in a few months from now. What do you think? And Brad told me later on that he was like, man, that was the first time I had to make a decision for you as your husband. Later, he told me that he was like, I was so worried that I made the wrong decision for you, because I just remember you saying how you wanted to be symmetrical. You wanted to be symmetrical. And he was like, oh no, I made the wrong decision. But of course, they made the right decision to take any skin that was close to any cancer. And I'm glad that they did. So I have the tissue expander in on the right side, and the left side is just completely flat. So yeah, when they told me all that after my surgery, that was kind of a blow, and it was hard news, but I'm so glad they made the right decision, because I don't want to come back and do this all over again. So the next day, they did a really good job of keeping up on my pain management, so I wasn't in too much pain. Everyone's tolerance is different, and I'm actually I have very little pain tolerance. I had the drains in on both sides, so fun. And Brad stayed overnight with me in the hospital. So the next morning, the mastectomy surgeon comes in with a few of his nurses to check on me the next day, and they wanted to change the gauze under the compression bra. And I just remember the nurse saying, okay, we're gonna open up your bra and change the gauze, the abdominal pads. If you don't wanna look, you don't have to. Sometimes, it can come as quite a shock to some people. I was like, no, I'm okay. So I did peek, and I was like, oh God, okay. Whew. I had no thoughts. I was just like, well, they're gone. Yep, they're gone all right. And so I was sent home a little bit later that day. Brad was such a huge support and huge help, because he fortunately was able to work from home for 4 weeks to stay with me. And we had a tracker, of all of my medications and prescriptions, but he also had a little Excel spreadsheet on his phone to remember when he gave me what last. And he was such a huge help with my pain management. I never, was in too much pain. I think I took 3 oxycodone, but yeah, the pain really never got past a 4. It was more so just I could barely lift a cup. He had to put the medicine in my mouth and then give me the straw. So it was painful, but it wasn't excruciating. I was on top of the pain management with the medication. But yeah, I just couldn't move. You use your chest muscles for everything. So he hoisted me out of bed, he hoisted me off the couch, cooked for me, washed my hair. He gave me a really nice blowout one day. So just so thankful that I had and have him as the best support. The first time I changed my gauze under my compression bra at home, that was really hard. I just had a huge feeling of body dysmorphia. Over time, I've gotten used to seeing it, and I still have a little bit of a curve in my skin. And at the plastic surgeon's office, the nurse was saying, you still look extremely feminine. You look really good. Your scars are healing beautifully. Everything is looking great. And I just have to tell myself and remind myself that with reconstructive surgery, I wasn't going to wake up with new boobs. Reconstructive surgery is a marathon, not a sprint. But I'll definitely feel, kind of funny as the right side grows bigger and then I have to wait, then put the tissue expander in. I'll be out for another surgery for that. And then the left side gets pumped up to meet the right side, and then I'll get the implants put in, I think, at the same time. If you're going through this, you're not alone. Everyone's case is different, but just remind yourself to take it one day at a time. I'm able to drive myself now. I'm able to go to the gym and walk on the treadmill, which has been really, really good for my mental health to get out of the house. One thing that's been good during recovery is to just kind of have friends over if you feel comfortable with it. I have had friends over to watch movies. They've brought dinner over for me and then we'd eat together. So that was so nice. And just to have that support and talking to a friend in person and catching up, but taking things slow. Movie nights were great. After David Lynch passed away, I had some friends over 2 nights in a row and we watched 2 David Lynch films. But yeah, I've really just been watching a lot of TV series and watching a lot of movies. Been enjoying my short-term disability, that's for sure. After a couple of weeks, I got a call back about my pathology. So my pathology report was really great news because all my margins came back negative and my sentinel lymph node that they took on my left side came back negative as well. So basically that means that I'm clear. All my margins are clear. They got everything out of me. So that's incredible, incredible news. The next step was to meet with an oncologist because even though they took all the cancer that they could find out and the sentinel lymph node came back negative, the sentinel lymph node will tell you if the cancer has spread. So hearing that came back negative was such a relief. I then had my post-op with my mastectomy surgeon. He said, scars are looking great, healing great. He went through the pathology again with me one more time. And he said, the next steps for you are we will have your tumor board where surgeons, oncologists will decide what cancer patients are a candidate for radiation or chemo or whatnot. So Friday, I get a call from him saying that fortunately I don't need chemo and I don't need radiation because there's nothing there to zap to do radiation for. But because my type of cancer is hormone related, estrogen positive and progesterone positive, I may have to be on tamoxifen, which is a hormone blocker pill, which honestly, that's going to be probably some of the hardest news for me to take. And I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for it. But the next steps are meet with an oncologist and they'll go through next steps. You'll meet with an oncologist for 5 to 10 plus years. The mastectomy surgeon said, I actually spoke with your oncologist. She was at tumor board and I let her know about you guys wanting to start a family. You're 34. Because I'm hormone related, because I'm estrogen and progesterone positive, having to be on those hormone blocker pills while trying to start a family is going to be really, really hard on me. And I've YouTubed some people's experiences being on tamoxifen and it's scary. Everyone's different, but I definitely went down a rabbit hole, a YouTube spiral of people's experiences on tamoxifen. I'll find out if I need to start it now, if I need a hormone blocker that's super strong or aggressive, I don't know. So I'm like, can I maybe just get pregnant now and start it after? So I'll post an update after I meet with the oncologist and we'll see kind of how this YouTube journey goes. As I mentioned earlier, kind of with maybe what I'm doing with this YouTube experience is from sharing my story, maybe I can help build a community or hear your experiences because I have no idea what to expect on tamoxifen, how this is going to go after cancer and starting a family. Do I still have the cancer? If so, where would it come back? Because I thought you took it all and my margins are negative, so there's just so many unanswered questions that hopefully my meeting with the oncologist will help me and my husband answer. So I think that my next video will be maybe a bit more of just like maybe show some fun things, my recovery, just, still taking things easy, eventually going back to work, meeting with my oncologist. Next week, I actually get my first reconstructive surgery tissue expansion. So I'll bring you along for that, give you updates, and then I meet with the oncologist in a couple of weeks. So yeah, if you've gotten this far, thank you so much for watching and just listening to my story. I hope that this has helped anyone in some way to maybe have taken just a sliver of something away from this and realize that you are not alone you're strong. There's so many women who are going through this or have gone through this. And if you haven't had a mammogram yet, I strongly encourage you to go schedule one right now. If you have any concerns, go get that mammogram right now. Thanks again for watching, and take care, everyone.